Kia ora guys, you're watching Juice TV, Jesse Burt here. I'm here with Tali. How are we?
Kia ora, very good, thank you.
That's very good, and you've got two tracks on Juice at the moment, Providence and Forces. Providence, I want to talk about first, working with a Hori buzz. Also, you take on the role as a teacher for the day. How was making that music video?
It was pretty easy because I am a trained teacher. That was a lot of fun. It was heaps easier than the real thing, and the kids were amazing. They were such little performers. So yeah, it was really cool, and I felt very humbled and honoured to be asked to be in a Hori buzz video.
Nice, and you've worked with so many Kiwi musicians. For some reason right now the spotlight is just focused on Kiwi music. We're getting so much recognition. How do you think our music compares on a global scale?
I think it's absolutely up there, if not above. You know, like I was playing a gig in Perth a few weeks ago, and all the Aussies that I was backstage with were just saying to me, you know, the thing about New Zealand is that we know what our strengths are, and we know that we stand out in certain aspects, and we play on that and we encourage it and we support it. Whereas somewhere like Australia, it's very mainstream and it's very hard to get into the music scene if you're an aspiring musician. So I think we're really fortunate. We know what our, like I said, you know, we know what our strengths are, but not only that, like we just seem to have so many original artists in all different niches and genres. Yeah. Nice,
and you've been very busy. You've gone to different shows all over the world at the same time working on your solo album. You worked on that solo, but before we get into detail about Wolves, why'd you call it Wolves?
Because it came from a song that is called Wolves on the album, and the song came to me one night when I was, it was one of those nights where, you know, when you don't mean to go like out, there's this sort of running gag that Mickey Flanagan, this UK comedian, does about how you go out but you don't mean to go out. So you kind of think, oh, I'm going to go out, I'm going to see a few friends, I'm going to have a drink, and then next thing you know, you're kind of being led astray, and the night suddenly opens up into all these amazing possibilities. And that happened to me one night. It's happened to me many nights, but on this particular night I said to my friends, I love how we're all in this little pack. It's like we're a little crew of wolves. And she was like, yeah, we're just like little wolves running wild. And I kind of like that that whole concept. And I think the idea of Wolves as an album is that just rolling with my pack, rolling with my crew, people who have inspired me, even though the album is solo. But so wolves, you know, they run in packs, but they are also solitary creatures that like to be on their own and do their own thing as well. So that's me. I'm one of those people. I like having a crew, but I like doing my own thing as well and being a solitary individual. So that's kind of where Wolves comes from.
And you worked on Wolves as a solo project. What was it like producing this piece of work?
It's been amazing, you know, because the first few tracks that I made, I didn't really have an idea or a concept or a focus on what I was doing. I was just, hey, I'm producing tracks and I'm having fun, you know, so it wasn't sort of intentional really. And I played them to a few people and they were like, this is pretty good, Tali, like, you know, you should maybe expand this into an album. And I thought, oh no, that's too much work, I can't possibly do that. And then, you know, a couple of months later I had this whole album's worth of material, well, about, you know, nine tunes, and someone said to me, you know, you should put this out as an album, you should get some distribution. So I just emailed Warner and they were interested. I sent them the music and they loved it, and they were like, yeah, let us put it out for you. So it's still independent, it's 100% produced by me, although I have sampled a lot of my drums because I cannot make drums. I suck at drums, but I'm very good at scoring music, and it's all it's really cinematic. So it's like cinematic soul music mixed with gangster jazz.
What was a massive challenge working on this project? Seeing as you worked on it solo, there must have been a few barriers.
I think probably one of the biggest barriers was just in terms of my knowledge with the production side of things, because this was the first thing I'd ever done production-wise. And using the program that I'm using, it's limiting. I produced the entire album on the new version of GarageBand, and a lot of people are like, oh, GarageBand, that's like something you get free with Mac. Yes, it is, but if you open it up and look at it, it's virtually identical to Logic. And the great thing about it is that it's actually meant that when someone I've been making tunes with Caleb, who's another awesome producer here in New Zealand, and he uses Logic. When he opened it up, I was like, oh, I know what I'm doing, kind of thing. He's like, how do you know what you're doing? You've been using GarageBand. I said, dude, they're exactly the same, pretty much. So I guess one of the limitations with using that program though is that the library of sounds is very small. So on one hand, you're like, okay, I've got this string sound that I want to use, but I've used it like 20 times. So what it forces you to do is learn how to be more experimental with the way you use the sound. So how can I make this sound unique and different to the last tune? So it has had its challenges, but at the same time it's stretched me as an artist. It's really meant that I've had to utilize all sorts of different ideas that I didn't even know I had.
So it's kind of like being put outside of your comfort zone. Have you got a release date for Wolves?
I'm hoping around September. Obviously, you know, we have an alpha deadline and then you have a beta deadline. So
yes.
the first one is September, but it could be pushed to October. But the album is pretty much finished, although I can't stop producing. So I just finished making another tune last week and I'm still trying to decide whether I want to put that on the album or not.
I admire your hard work and being quite a hard worker. Forces, another favourite single from the album, Wolves, coming out September, October. Tell us about that before we roll into that one. So
Forces was one of the first singles that I made, and what happened with that though was that I made it, finished it, really loved it, and then consequently lost all the material. I don't know how. I deleted it somehow. So I had to go back in on it, and I'm glad I did, because the first few tunes that I did work on, I ended up going back in on anyway and perfecting them and tightening them up, because as my production skills have grown over the last year, I've realized I'm going to be not criticized, but critiqued for my production. And it's just a song about love, really. It's about attraction and being so into somebody and them being so into you that when you meet each other, those sparks fly and the butterflies in the stomach, and when you're with them intimately, you want to kind of take it as slowly as possible because you want to make it last as long as possible, the whole moment. So it's sort of, to me, it reminded me of the idea when forces of nature happen. They can be either really awe-inspiring and amazing, or like last night's storm, they can be really destructive.
I'm so excited for you, so good luck with the release of your album Wolves, and I think you need to take the honour and throw to your single Forces on the channel.
Okay, this is my brand new single Forces here on Jesse TV.